What's going on? Welcome back to Off the Schneid. Today we're going to be looking at the Buffalo Bills, trying to figure out some draft needs for them post free agency right before the 2021 NFL draft. As you can see, 30th overall, 13-3 last year, went to the AFC Championship game, lost to the Chiefs. This is a very complete roster. They bring back almost everything and replace what they lost in free agency. So let's take a look at what moves, kind of the movers and shakers for the Bills here. Mitchell Trubisky comes in, quality backup quarterback, starting experience in the NFL. Can play a similar kind of a game as Josh Allen if a disaster should strike. Obviously, that would be, again, an absolute disaster, but the drop-off shouldn't be extreme. If Mitchell Trubisky should have to play some meaningful downs this year, we'll see what happens. Lost TJ Yeldon in the backfield, not a big deal. Matt Breida comes in and he can spell the kind of two-headed backfield in Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, who can both do similar things, can both catch the ball out of the backfield, run 4.4, 4.3 average each. So nothing wrong with that two-headed backfield sort of a thing. Wide receiver, they lose John Brown. Go ahead and bring in Emmanuel Sanders, a quality veteran locker room type of a guy. Everything that I've seen looks great. I think he's a great locker room quality, can still get the job done type of thing if you need to call on him. Cole Beasley, almost 1,000 yards last year. Stephon Diggs was one of the best wide receivers in the game. Gabriel Davis, I really liked last year, especially down the stretch. He kind of took over that role from John Brown anyways. So I think that he's a quality complement to Diggs and Beasley. And then you got the gadget guy, Isaiah McKenzie, who can run the ball, catch the ball. He threw a touchdown last year. Very good guy to have, to move around back there. As far as needs on this offense, the only need, in my opinion, is just some depth on the offensive line in case of injury. Like, there's no holes here. There's no holes on the offensive line. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tear down the Bills. Very complete roster, but they could add a guy, third, one of those fifth round picks, something like that, maybe second round, bring in a guy that's a future guy, can play, compete, that sort of thing. You just want to ensure that you have the best five guys out there at all times. And I could see them adding a piece somewhere. In every draft, in my opinion, every team should take an offensive lineman as well as a defensive back, corner, safety, whatever it is. But those are the two positions that I take in every single draft. And I suspect that the Bills are going to add somebody, probably not with their first round pick. I highly doubt that. So who do they take in the first round pick? For me, I'm looking at the defense and I'm looking at defensive end. Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison are in the final year of their contracts. They're 33 and 34 years old. They're probably not going to be on this team after this season. AJ Epinesa was a high draft pick last year. He'll obviously be a guy and have a chance to continue to contribute for this team. A very underrated pickup for me, F.A. Abada. Google him if you don't know his story. It's pretty interesting. Also interesting, he would have led this team in sacks last year. He played a very rotational role for the Carolina Panthers last year. Joins a team that he knows some guys from the Panthers days, obviously Sean McDermott, that kind of a thing. He would have led this team in sacks, 5.5 sacks last year, in like I said, an extremely rotational basis. 15 quarterback hits, 28 years old. Very inexpensive, to sign. I think it was right around $1 million. I think that's an underrated pickup, and he's a guy that is just rotational, get after the quarterback. He didn't play football his whole life, didn't start playing until he was 22 years old. All he knows is get after the quarterback. Third down, try to tackle the quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think that that's a very underrated pickup for the Bills, and I'm excited to see what he can do with this line. Ed Oliver, fantastic. Vernon Butler, I really like. Harrison Phillips, I really like. And then AJ Epinesa. So they can definitely get after the quarterback. I suspect and expect them to get more than 38 sacks that they had last year. 5 sacks, led this team. That was AJ Klein as well as Mario Addison. So that's where I look at 30 is probably defensive end for the future and a rotational kind of a guy. So that's where I look. Moving backwards, linebackers, I'm fine with where you're at. Again, AJ Klein led this team in sacks with 5. Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, to me, is one of the better linebackers in the game. No holes there. You know, you got a lot of young guys that can chip in and compete, sort of a thing. So I'm probably fine at the linebacker position. Safety depth could be something I look at. Maybe 2nd, 3rd, 5th round picks, one of those ones. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde are fantastic, but you're going to need some depth and competition, like I said. And again, I'm nitpicking here. I'm not trying to say these guys are no good. They need to add you need to add pieces or else they're going to fail. That's not what I'm saying. There's not a lot that you need to add to this team. Cornerback, just again, depth, competition, that sort of a thing. There's no holes on this team. I fully suspect the Bills to be pushing for the AFC Championship, Super Bowl contenders type of a thing. I absolutely expect that to be the outcome again for the Bills in 2021. So there you go. Not a lot of needs. Fair amount of capital. They could look to move back maybe if they want to add capital next year for maybe when Jerry Hughes and Addison are gone and they need a defensive end type of a thing, but I suspect that they just draft where they're at and try to fill those holes for the future. So they're in a very, very good position. Not a lot of needs. Great coaching staff. They're a team of the future. There you go. There's your needs for the Buffalo Bills. In this order, I go defensive end, offensive line, safety, corner. That's where I look in the 2021 NFL draft for the Buffalo Bills. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate the watch. We'll see you again next time.